Hey YouTube fam and friends, this video is Cafe Clutch with Kat. It is Saturday night, I believe it's December 17th. Should we check the date? 2022. This video with Nightly Cafe Clutch is going to be about how the power of words can really change a situation, and it can take one viewpoint and one perspective and completely shift and change it. And this is about a positive shift that occurred. I lived in Seattle for a couple of years, and when I was new there, I was driving on this highway that I didn't know very well, and there was a rain storm and the roads were flooded and cones were out, and I was driving along and I took what I thought was the correct exit ramp from where the cones were with the detour, only to find myself in a situation where my car was flooded and I couldn't move. So when I did that, I was, mentally beating myself up. I was like, oh my goodness, Kat, what did you just do? And I like to think of myself, and I believe I am, a very independent woman, a go-getter, an achiever, resilient, and do a lot on my own. And I'm proud of that fact, of what I can do, and not having to be reliant on anybody but God. And so when I got in this situation, I was like, just feeling like not good, beating myself up mentally and embarrassed. And so I called AAA, and long story short, the tow truck guys, they came out and pulled me out. I don't remember how many people needed to come to help get the car out, but I was out. And shortly thereafter, I drove to a store, and I was still beating myself up mentally, which I don't like to do, but it was just on me, like, how could I do something so foolish? And I did see, as I was getting towed out, I recall that I realized, oh my goodness, the gust of wind must have moved, and the water must have moved the cones into a different area. So I was actually taking the correct route of the cones. It's just the cones had been moved. So I'm in line and I'm at the store, and this gentleman of a cashier must have just seen the distressed look on my face, and he's like, "Are you okay? Can I help you? What's going on?" And very concerned the stranger was for me. And I just relayed to him my story about how I had just flooded my car and had to be towed and yada, 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 right? Venting the story. And he had one simple phrase that changed my perspective, made me feel like $1,000,000 from feeling like so beat up and just feeling stupid about the whole thing. He made me feel like $1,000,000. And it was such wisdom and insight and his non-judgment. And he said, sometimes it's nice to be rescued. And that has stayed with me all these years. That I went from a state of being so super self-critical and hard on myself, and just feeling this overwhelming sense of, he's right. It's okay to be rescued, and sometimes it is nice to be rescued and to not have to do the self-reliance all the time, and that, sometimes you need help and it's okay. So, and just a shout out in the memory to this wonderful, sweet gentleman of a cashier, and to others listening. If you do what I do sometimes and you overthink something and might mentally beat yourself up for something, just to give yourself grace and to give yourself slack. And maybe it's just a quick shift of thought and turning the coin from heads to tails, where sometimes it's nice to need help, to have to ask for help, and to be rescued. And that there's people out there doing the rescuing. So I know I'm someone who likes to be on the other side of the coin and help people. And I think, a lot of people are. And when we need help, it's even harder for those of us that are helpers. So good night and God bless. And I will leave you with that thought.